That's nice. Okay. Um, Let me start my commentary. Verse 16 to 17, Middle Assyrian Law 55. So this quote is a bit long, and I don't know if it'll be a bit triggery, but I thought that maybe it'd be of an interest. So if a man forcibly seizes and rapes a maiden who is residing in her father's house, who is not spoken for, whose womb is not opened, who is not taken in marriage, and against whose father's house there is no outstanding claim, whether the rape occurs within the city or in the countryside, or at night, whether in the main thoroughfare or in a granary or during the city festival, the father of the maiden shall take the wife of the copulator of the maiden and give her over to be raped. He shall not return her to her husband, he shall take her for himself. The father shall give his daughter, she who is the victim of the copulation, to her copulator into marriage. If the copulator has no wife, the copulator shall give triple the silver as the value of the maiden to her father. Her copulatory shall take her in marriage. He shall not reject her. If the father does not desire it so, he shall accept triple silver for the maiden, and he shall give his daughter in marriage to whomever he chooses. Yeah.
That's
Wait, so
fucked up.
Yep.
so the wife of the rapist is raped as punishment?
Yes. That's
The man,
exactly
the
There's two
father of the
wrongs.
girl.
Two wrongs make a right.
Well, and because he's supposed to take her as wife to provide
within
for
the
her that he, raped. And then if, he has a wife, then the father of the girl gets to take his wife. And is this is
So it's a wife swap.
basically you trade for a younger model by raping other people's daughters.
Popular in the 70s, I hear.
Uh, Verse 17, bride price. In Hebrew Bible, it reads mohal. Sana comments, the origin of the technical term mohal is uncertain. Since it is common to Hebrew, Ugaritic, Aramaic, and Arabic, the practice must have been widespread. A similar institution, known as tilchatum in Akkadian, is regulated in the cuneiform law collections. From the story of Dinah and Shechem, as told in Genesis 34, it is clear that the mohar was in force in pre-Israelite Canaan.
Is it the same thing as a dowry, or was it something different?
I think essentially,
I think.
yeah, the bride price is paid to the family of the bride, whereas I believe a dowry goes with the bride from her family to give her some establishment. Typically, it can be cattle or sheep or whatever. It is very culturally dependent. But sorry, I this is the kindest I am going to be to this text. I will say this once. Because women are not people in this culture, and because their consent is utterly meaningless, these laws treat the same a situation where a girl, one who has not yet bled, who might be 12 years old, is assaulted by some creepy man, the same as teenagers who run away together a la Romeo and Juliet style. So I believe that is part of the reason why there is an amount of discretion given to the father whether he will permit the girl to be married. Because remember, she's not a person. She has no will. The crime has been committed against the father. So even if she, this is her, they're in young love.
But not just the father.
Boyfriend.
It's if she doesn't have anyone who claims ownership of her. So she's not suited to anybody. She's not promised to anybody. She doesn't belong to anybody as a slave. She's someone else's property. She is chattel.
Yes. But the reason I believe for the discretion between potentially getting married or charging silver or whatever may have something to do with the fact that because women aren't people, because women are chattel, those two situations are treated the same. And it still puts it entirely out of her hands. She doesn't get to run away with the guy just because she wants to. But there can be a potential for basically finding ways around for young couples in a best case scenario where everyone involved behaves well. And we know how often that happens in religious communities.
Is the only difference between someone who seduces a virgin and someone who rapes one is that the rapist is forced to marry her and the seductress is not forced?
No,
the only difference?
There's no difference. There's no difference whatsoever.
Because it says here he shall provide
Because
her
this
with
is
a
the divine
marriage
wisdom
contract. Doesn't
of
say
a
he
just and
must
righteous God.
not divorce her.
Mhm.
So I think when in the
Meaning-
later verse, it's like a bit more.
Well, because men had the protection of being able to divorce wives they didn't like. So if he didn't go about things the right way, then he didn't have that avenue open to him to get rid of her. But again, that's going to be a later version of the law that will be
That
more
seems to be the
detailed.
only difference. Yeah.
It's
That I
not
will
as
get drunk
complicated as
on.
having to, you don't actually have to get a divorce. If you buy someone else's child and have sex with it, and you decide that okay, well, you didn't like her, you don't have to divorce her. You can just kick her out of the camp. The Bible said that earlier in an earlier chapter that we've already read.
Actually, it also said that you shouldn't, you must not, if you take another wife, you must not decrease her food, raiment, or marital.
Well, she doesn't
right.
please you.
Yeah.
You
I think
can
that means if
give
if
her
you
her
don't-
freedom without payment
Yeah.
or provision. So
Yeah.
you're
I
kicking
think
her
it
out
says
of
if
your
you don't
camp.
want to marry her, that's, like she
Yeah.
doesn't. That's
So you bought her, and you don't like her, you kick her out with no money or provision. Just throw her out in the wilderness.
But nobody
sell
had
her
to
at a
pay
garage
you
sale?
for her. So
Oh no.
I think something like that. All right, what's the next one?
Well, you can't
Tell
sell
me.
her to somebody
Yeah.
else. She's used.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mm.
women
Okay.
have not committed nearly enough unaliving in history.
Yeah.